Leave the wedding. You shouldn't be proud of anything. My mom yelled that at me and my girlfriend in the middle of my sister's wedding over a year ago. She still kicked us out, even though I had spent $23,000 to pay for everything that day. All because I told the truth about who paid for everything and showed that my sister's baby wasn't even her fiancé's. Hey everyone, I need your help before we start today's video. We've seen that the channel isn't getting as many views as it used to, and subscribing is one of the best ways to help us. It's free, quick, and it helps us keep making great stuff for you. Your help means everything. Let's work together to make this channel bigger. Thank you very much. Let's get the video going now. Okay, I think I should start this whole mess over again. I used to think I was hot with my company ideas when I was 32. Sadly, I wasn't. Not even close. About 3 years ago, I put all my money into this cybersecurity tool that I felt would change the way businesses protect their data. I told everyone who would listen that it would be the next great thing. Just wait and see. I put all of my savings into it. That's about $90,000 that I've been saving since my first job after college. Used up all 3 of my credit cards. The whole thing was paid for with a personal loan. I even talked my roommate at the time into putting his job bonus into an investment. In at least 6 months, you'll have twice as much. I made a pledge. Yes, about that. The app failed in a big way. Not just a tiny setback or a chance to learn, like those encouraging LinkedIn posts attempt to make it sound. We're talking about a full-on breakdown. The kind of situation when you are sitting in an empty office that you can't afford anymore, gazing at your laptop as the power goes out because you neglected to pay that bill too. You might be wondering how I got here. It turns out that our breakthrough security algorithm had a big problem that made it unusable for any business with more than 50 employees. By the time we fixed it, 3 bigger companies had already released similar products that worked. That's it for the game. I had to move back in with my mom and dad. At 30 years old, I had nothing except debt and a failed venture to my name. Rock bottom doesn't even come close to what it is. You know what's worse than failing? Every day, your family makes fun of you for it. Why aren't you more like your cousin Ty? He has a steady job with the government, a fine house in the suburbs, and a plan for retirement. My dad would say this, in front of me like I wasn't even there. Just say it loudly during dinner so that everyone can hear. Mom would just nod and look pleased. Your dad is correct. Ty never took risks that weren't necessary. He was savvy about it. Then she would let out a big sigh. We told you IT startups are like gambling, but you didn't listen. Run, my sister, just sat there awkwardly poking at her meal and not saying anything to defend me. She was 27 years old and worked as an administrative assistant for an insurance company. We never rocked the boat or stood up to our parents. We just lived in that wonderful middle area where we were not successful enough to garner praise or unsuccessful enough to be pulled apart. Uncle Stu was probably the worst when he came over. So, how's that cool tech thing working out? Oh, hold on. No, it's not. That person is a real comic genius. He would hit me too hard on the back and call me Mr. Silicon Valley, even though we were in Ohio. And Aunt May would constantly say, you know, there's nothing wrong with doing regular work. Not everyone is good at business. Thanks for the advice, Aunt May. Very helpful. The extended family wasn't any better. Grandma Ruth would call only to tell me about a news report she saw about another tech business that collapsed and question whether it was run by someone like you. Mia, my cousin who was a nurse, would send me texts with job openings for hospital janitors. They get perks. She would write to me as if I should be thankful that she was looking out for me. When I went to family events, it seemed like there was a neon sign above my head that said failure in big red letters. Everyone suddenly knew a lot about business. You desire to be successful right away, which is an issue with your generation. My uncle would give me lectures, but he always forgot that he got his plumbing business from my grandfather and had never started anything from scratch in his life. After almost 2 months of this daily humiliation, I packed my and went. I didn't inform anyone where I was going. Just went away. For more than 2 years, I had no touch at all. Not a single call, text, email, or anything. No sound. I thought I should focus on myself without all of these other things. I deleted my social media accounts, blocked all of their numbers, and made new ones with a name that was a little different. I relocated 3 cities away, far enough that I wouldn't run into anyone I knew by accident, but close enough that I didn't have to get a new driver's license. I started over and rebuilt my life throughout those 2 years. There was no safety net, no family aid, no calls of compassion, just me working hard. I created this new firm and unique software solutions on a modest scale. A lot more useful than my last _ dream. Instead of following some crazy notion, they really fixed real problems for real businesses. I worked 16 hours a day, lived in a bad studio apartment where the shower would switch from freezing to scalding at odd times, and ate ramen and canned tuna for months. I worked at the public library on a corner desk until I could afford to rent a real office. I met a female at some point during that first year. I'll call her Jo. Not in the library where I worked, which was not a bar, club, or anything like that. She works as a librarian and doesn't care about designer stuff. She's just a really nice person who found something in me when I had nothing to contribute. Sometimes she'd bring me coffee when I looked like I was going to fall asleep at my desk. We began to talk during her breaks. She'd ask me what I was working on, and she really listened, unlike my family. They didn't condemn me or compare me to anyone else. They just listened. I couldn't afford to take her somewhere, so our first date was a walk in the park. From the very beginning, I told her exactly what was going on with me. I'm practically starting over with nothing. I told her, I have more debt than assets and I work all the time. She just shrugged and said, sounds like you're someone who doesn't give up. I like that, but she stayed with me through the worst of it. Never grumbled about my small flat or when I couldn't take her to a beautiful place. When I was feeling down after losing a potential customer, she would bring me these cookies she cooked and remind me that successful people are just failures who didn't give up. Now, my business is finally doing well. There is a significant need for custom software solutions that work and don't cost a lot of money. I built up a good number of clients, hired a staff of developers, and added more services. I'm making 6 figures a year now. I bought a nice house in a nice area, and I'm still with Jo. Life was going pretty well until my family suddenly remembered that I was still alive. Isn't it funny how that works? 2 years of acts who and now I'm their favorite son again. It's amazing what a little success can do. It was Tuesday afternoon, and I was at my office finishing up a deal with a new client, our biggest one yet. That's when my phone rang with my dad's number. I haven't seen that on my screen in more than 2 years. My immediate reaction was that someone had died. I looked at it for 3 rings, thinking about whether or not to answer. I wanted to let it go to voicemail, but another part of me, the part that still remembered being part of a family, pushed me answer. Hello? I said, my heart pounding a little. Ax, it's your father. Like I wouldn't know his voice after 32 years. We need to talk. It's about Ren. My thoughts immediately jumped to the worst possible outcomes. Something bad, as a car accident or a cancer diagnosis. What happened? Is she all right? I asked again, eagerly grabbing for my keys and ready to go to the hospital if I had to. He said, she's pregnant. As if he were revealing that she had a grave illness and needed to get married right now. The boy's family is incredibly old-fashioned. I slumped back in my chair and felt a wave of relaxation. Not dead, just pregnant. It's a classic family drama. Not a life or death situation. Okay, and why are you phoning me about this? I asked him, even though I already knew the answer, so he would say it. There was a break. The wedding has to place in a month, though. And you know, your mother and I have been having a hard time since I damaged my back at work last year. That meant they needed cash. Yes, they did. What else might make them break their silence for 2 years? My dad went on, we know you're busy with whatever it is you're doing these days. But you need to act like a man. This is your time to show that you still belong to the family. Be a man. That's what he starts with after 2 years of stillness. And what the hell did he mean by whatever it is you're doing these days? Like my business was just a pastime I was working on in the garage. I said plainly, I own my own business now. A good one. Yes. That was something your mom saw on the internet. He answered in a rude way. Hey, this isn't about you. It's for your sister. She needs her family right now. I almost laughed. She needs family now. Where was this familial support when they all took turns dunking on me? And what about the guy I asked? Zeb is a freelance graphic designer who is incredibly talented, very creative, and has a lot of promise. In my family's lingo, potential means doesn't do anything right now. But we're pretending that he's about to become famous, so he can't afford a wedding. I told them that wasn't a question. My dad remarked, he's building his client base. These things require time to do. You should know this because of everything you've been through. Ow, that was a nice little jab at me, reminding me of my failure while still asking for my money. A brilliant move by Dad. He went on to say that they required at least $23,000 for the wedding, the venue, the food, the dress, and everything else, and they wanted it right away. I said I'd think about it, and then I hung up. After that, I sat there for a long time, staring at the wall and trying to figure out what had just happened. The next day, Cousin Ty called me. Hey, I heard you're talking to the family again regarding Ren's wedding. That's nice of you, given all that's going on. Then he laughed like we were in on a secret joke. Dad was just talking about how you could finally be ready to put things right. It's better to be late than never, right? So, they were saying that Emmy was putting things right with them, as if I was the one who needed to be forgiven. Normal. Aunt Pam wrote, "It's great to hear from you again. We've all been so worried about you." Yeah, they were so worried that they never tried to contact me. I didn't believe them for a second. But Ren never really did anything bad to me. She just stood there as everyone else was. Undersur. Plus, she was pregnant, so I gave in and agreed to pay for the wedding. But I made some very clear rules. I'll pay for everything myself. No cash gifts. I'll sign the contracts with the venues, the caterers, and everything else. My name is on all the forms. They didn't like it, but they didn't have a choice. So, over the following few weeks, I signed checks, booked venues, and paid deposits. Cost me around $23,000, which wasn't pocket change, but I could afford it now. I believed that maybe this was an opportunity to fix things with them and show them I wasn't the loser they thought I was. Yeah, I guess I'm still a little dumb sometimes, but at least I'm a rich dumbass now, right? That's when I began to spend more time with my family. During all of this planning, I only met with Ren once. She looked different. There was something more going on besides the pregnancy that I couldn't quite put my finger on. More anxious than thrilled about the wedding. Are you happy with this guy? I asked her while we were having coffee. This Zeb guy? She promptly nodded. Too fast. He's really good. Very imaginative. He is loved by everyone. That's not what I asked, I said softly. Are you happy with him? She mixed her decaf latte. No caffeine because of the pregnancy. And stayed away from my sight. He is a kind guy. It's the correct thing to do. Not exactly a strong endorsement of eternal love. But I didn't push it. I was just there to write checks. Startled me that Ren did ask about Joe. Will she be at the wedding? I want to meet her. I said it was strange that I hadn't gotten an invitation yet. Ren really looked confused. But you are paying for everything. Of course, you're welcome. That should have been my first sign that not everyone in the family agreed with what was going on. A week before the wedding, my cousin Mia called me out of the blue. We were close when we were youngsters, but then the whole family turned against me. Hey man, I heard you're going to Ren's wedding. That's great, dude. It's been a long time. We talked for a few minutes, and it seemed like old times. She told me about her new apartment, her career as a nurse, and the guy she was seeing. I informed her about my business, my house, Joe, and other regular cousin things. Then she said this. Wow, that's really nice. Ren's fiancé is paying for everything. That guy truly came through. I almost spit out my coffee. What? Who said that to you? When she called to invite us, your mom said something about it. You said something about how you offered to help out a little because you felt bad about leaving the family, but Zeb is doing most of it. For the last few years, she said you weren't a true guy, but at least you're attempting to make things right. I hung up and called another cousin right away, then an aunt. Same __ tail everywhere. My mom had been telling everyone that I was simply a loser brother attempting to buy my way back into the family's good graces while Zeb was getting all the glory for my money. And get this, everyone believed it. Zeb is a freelance graphic designer who has never had a steady client, even though he can barely pay his own rent. But of course, he's gonna spend $23,000 on a wedding. That makes excellent sense. I called the wedding coordinator, and they told me what I already knew. All of the bills were in my name. I paid for everything with my own money. Zeb hadn't given a single cent. Not even for the ring, which was his mother's old one. Changed size for Rin. My uncle really did text me. It's nice to see you doing stuff. Your sister discovered a real provider, unlike other people who run after pipe dreams. He didn't seem to get that it was ironic that he sent that SMS from a phone I was paying for. Then there was the drama with the group photographs. My mom emailed me that they had set up family portraits for the day before the wedding. She wrote, "Just immediate family. 4 p.m. at the place." I asked what Joe and I should wear in response. 20 minutes later, "Oh dear. I believe there has been a mistake. These are just for family via blood. We'll do some with buddies at the party." Family by blood. Like Joe wasn't going to be my wife one day. Like she hadn't been there for me when none of my family cared. My blood was boiling. So much work. They were still finding ways to disrespect me, even if they had all that money and progress. To them, I wasn't a person. I was simply a wallet with legs, like a freaking ATM with a pulse. I wished I hadn't paid right away, but I already did. I called my mom personally, which I never do. When she picked up, her voice was so phony sweet that it made my skin crawl. Sweetheart, are the flowers not doing well? I told Run we should go with the roses, but why are you telling everyone that Zeb is paying for the wedding? I stopped her. There was a pause, and then I said, "Oh, honey, does it really matter who gets the credit? The important thing is that Ren has her special day. It matters to me." I said, "I'm the one paying for everything." "Well, yes, but Zeb is the groom and he's going to be the one who takes care of Run and the baby. This is just easier. People have specific things they want. People think I'm a loser who can't support his sister because he doesn't have any money." I hit pause again. It might be best if you don't come to the wedding at all. We just don't want to talk about some topics. You know how people gossip, and since you haven't been there in a while, it might be better if only close family comes. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I hung up and contacted Rin right away. She would have made everything right. She murmured quietly, "I heard what happened with Mom. Hey, Zeb's family is quite conventional. If they learned he couldn't pay for the wedding himself, they'd be ashamed. It's about pride. Thus my pride doesn't matter." I asked. She kept talking and didn't answer my queries. "I understand why they're worried," she said. It's not personal. Don't make this about you, though. Please don't make this about myself. I'm spending $23,000 on her shotgun wedding, and I'm making it all about me. Does Zeb even realize I'm paying? I asked. She didn't say anything, which was enough of an answer. Ren, Jesus Christ. This is really wrong. Please don't ruin this for me, she begged in a hushed voice. Please. I really want this wedding to happen. I was surprised by the way she spoke. Not just begging, but begging like there was more at stake than just a ceremony. I inquired, "Is everything okay with you and Zeb?" She said too fast, "Everything's fine. Everything's perfect," but it didn't sound perfect. It sounded rehearsed. That same day, one of my cousins gave me this gem. "Hey, I'm so glad to see you back. Your dad just told us that your little business experiment is going well, but it's nothing compared to what Zeb is building. I guess we can't all be natural entrepreneurs, right? Some of us need more practice." Yeah, Zeb, the freaking natural entrepreneur who can't afford his own wedding. Brilliant. 2 years of completely ignoring my existence. And now they were not only taking my money, but actively diminishing my success while pumping up this jobless wonder they barely knew. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Horrifying, but somehow impossible to look away from. Speaking of Zeb, I finally met him at the rehearsal dinner, which I also paid for, by the way. He was this lanky guy with a man bun and those stretched earlobe things. Looked like every creative type stereotype rolled into one person. He gave me this limp handshake and said, "So you're the infamous Axe. Man, I've heard a lot about you." I bet he had. "How's the graphic design business?" I asked. He launched into this long explanation about his artistic vision and how he was too authentic for corporate clients, aka unemployable. The whole time he had his arm around Ren like he was marking his territory. She just stood there with this frozen smile that didn't reach her eyes. Then she excused herself to go to the bathroom and Zeb leaned in close to me. Listen, bro, I appreciate you chipping in a bit for the wedding. Shows character after all the family drama. Don't worry though, I've got the bulk of it handled. That was it. That was the moment when something inside me just snapped. You know that feeling when you realize you've been playing a rigged game? That's where I was. Done being the family punchline. I smiled at him. Not a friendly smile, but he was too self-absorbed to notice. No problem, bro, happy to chip in. Then I walked out of the rehearsal dinner early. Drove home fuming. Joe took one look at my face when I got home and knew something was very wrong. What happened? She asked, sitting next to me on the couch. I can't do this, I said finally, my voice hardening. I'm not just going to smile and hand over $23,000 to people who don't even think I deserve to be at the wedding. Joe squeezed my arm. Then don't take their crap anymore. I've watched you rebuild your entire life from nothing while these people treated you like garbage. You've got everything now to call them out on their entitled assurance right to their faces. She wasn't suggesting I back down. She was encouraging me to go nuclear. That's why I loved her. She didn't see me as the family disappointment. She saw me as someone who deserved respect. You know what? You're right, I said, standing up straighter. I've been playing nice, thinking they might actually appreciate what I've done. But they're still the same toxic people they've always been. Joe nodded, a slight smile on her face. So hit them where it hurts. Show them exactly what happens when they treat you like an ATM instead of family. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Joe said, about all the contracts in my name, about how completely within my rights I was to pull the plug on the whole thing. I thought about Ren's weird desperation, about Zeb's condescending attitude, about my parents' ongoing campaign to paint me as a failure. I could pull the plug, take back every cent, but this time I'm not just disappearing. They think I'm still a pushover. I'm going to look them in the eyes when their perfect little wedding crumbles. The old axe would have slunk away. The new one hits back and I had to. By morning I had a plan. The day of the wedding arrived and I got dressed in my best suit. Joe wore the simple but gorgeous blue dress that made her look like $1,000,000. She knew the situation was tense, but she stood by me anyway. Are you sure about this? She asked as we got in the car. Never been more sure of anything in my life, I replied. Time to see if my family enjoys surprises as much as I do. We arrived at the venue early, like first ones there early. A few relatives were already hanging around, and the looks on their faces when they saw me walk in were priceless. Didn't think you'd actually come? Brave move, considering. One of my cousins said as I walked by. I just nodded and kept going. The place looked great. It should, considering what I paid for it. There were flowers everywhere, expensive chairs, and everything else, all with my name on it. Aunt Pam caught me by the door and said, "So nice of you to show your face. Your sister just said that Zeb has been really giving with everything. You may learn a thing or two about being responsible from him." I smiled. Aunt Pam, I'm learning a lot today. Teaches a lot. Joe clasped my hand, which was a quiet way of telling me to keep calm. We sat in the back row, far away from where the immediate family would be sitting. I wanted to see everything before I did anything. The place began to fill up. Zeb's family was smaller but quite boisterous. Lots of creative people with bright hair and old clothes. Everyone seemed to think that their beloved Zeb had paid for this big event. I heard his mother talking about how much money her son spent on his wife. Then my parents saw us from the other side of the room. My mom's face turned white, then red. She ran over and stood between me and the rest of the arena, like a human wall. "Axe, we didn't think you'd come," she said in a low voice. I said with a smile, "I wouldn't miss it for the world. Isn't this a beautiful place?" The centerpieces are my favorite part. The florist did a terrific job with what I told them to do. My mother's eyes moved quickly between Joe and me. "We can't let you get in the way today." I smiled. A smile that wasn't happy. The kind that doesn't get all the way to your eyeballs. "Why? I paid for today." I said it loud enough for everyone to hear. She told them to leave. You shouldn't be proud of anything. At that moment, something cold and distinct came over me. I turned to the venue coordinator, who was nearby, pulled out my phone, and showed her the papers. I have to cancel everything. I'm taking away my permission to pay now. The coordinator's eyes got big. Sir, I look over the deal. Section 2, page 3. I might cancel at any time. The place is in my name, not theirs. I want everything to stop right now. The next several minutes were a mix of frenzy and slowness. The coordinator called certain people. The DJ stopped the music in the middle of the song. The personnel stopped bringing refreshments. They went to backup power settings, which made the lights dim a little. Guests looked about in confusion. People started to talk behind closed doors. My dad ran over and grabbed my arm. What in the world do you think you're doing? He spat. I quietly took his hand off and strolled to the middle of the room. I didn't yell. No need to. You could hear the air conditioning hum because it was so quiet. If you're wondering what's going on, I paid for this wedding. The smell, the place, the cuisine, the clothes, everything. I've been informed that I have nothing to be proud of and that I'm not welcome in the family. So I chose to take my nothing back. My mom was frantically trying to convince the workers at the venue to ignore me, but they kept pointing to the contracts. It appeared like my dad could suffer a stroke. In the corner, Uncle Stu was becoming purple. You're an ungrateful little shit, he said at first, but his wife pulled him back. Zeb pushed through the crowd, appearing perplexed and irritated. What the duck, dude? Is this a joke? I turned to face him directly. You tell me, Zeb. You're the one who's been telling everyone you paid for this wedding, but you didn't put a cent for it. His expression went blank for a second. Then he looked at Ren, who had come into the room in her wedding dress. What is he talking about? Ren just stood there, frozen. I told the venue coordinator to show him the documents. Show him who's been paying for his big day. The coordinator gave Zeb a folder, but not without a fight. He flipped through it, and with each page his face got redder. This is bullshit, he said under his breath. Complete. Understands. Ask your future mother-in-law why she's been telling everyone you paid for everything, I said. Ask your fiancée why she let you think that. Then I turned to Ron, who was standing there looking like she could pass out or run for the door. You might want to ask Ron who the dad is, by the way. It's not your fault. The room was completely quiet. Zeb gazed at Ron, who had turned white. She didn't say no. Not a word was said. She just stood there with her hand over her mouth. What the heck? Zeb said something in a low voice, but everyone heard it in the hush. What? She didn't say anything, but her eyes said it all. Shame, dread, and guilt. Everything was there. Who? Zeb yelled, his voice breaking. Who is it? To be honest, I was also astonished. Lol. I didn't know for sure until that time. It was a well-thought-out guess based on Ren's strange conduct, the rushed wedding plans, and her desperation for everything to happen immediately away. Joe had also pointed out some strange signs, things that only another woman would observe about how Ren acts. But watching Ren's expression at that time made everything clear. Her face said it all when I brought up Dak. I would have struck the bullseye even if I wasn't sure I was aiming at the right thing. I remember one of Zeb's buddies, who was sitting near the rear of the room, suddenly became quite interested in his shoes. Zeb looked where I was looking, and his eyes fell on the person. His face lit up with recognition. Dax, are you kidding me? My best friend. The guy, Dax, seemed to be backing up toward the door. Bro, I can explain. Zeb ran at him, but a few people pulled him back. He was yelling now, asking Ren, Dax, and anyone else who would listen for answers. How long? How effing long has this been going on? Ren finally spoke, her voice barely audible. It was just one time. I was drunk. It was a mistake. One time. Zeb broke free from the people holding him back and stormed over to her. And the baby? Is it his? Her silence was damning. Zeb stormed out. Several of his family members followed. The remaining guests started whispering, then talking, then yelling. Some were demanding refunds for their travel expenses. Others were just standing there, stunned. watching the drama unfold like it was a reality TV show. My parents were huddled with Ren. My mother crying dramatically. My father looking like he wanted to murder me. Run just looked broken. Like everything she'd been trying to hold together had finally fallen apart. I stood there thinking, 2 years of blessed freedom from their toxic drama. And here I was getting sucked back into the family highlight reel of let's all __ on X. Well, surprise ending this time. The doormat grew teeth. I'd spent too long living my life without their daily dose of judgment and manipulation. Life was actually pretty sweet without someone reminding me what a disappointment I was every 15 minutes. They wanted the old axe back. Too bad that version got deleted when I upgraded my spine to the premium package. This new model comes with a special feature. It hits back when punched. Cousin Ty approached me, the one that my mom kept comparing me to. Suddenly all buddy-buddy. Hey man, I never believed what they were saying about you. You know that, right? Weird because you were the one who called me a delusional tech bro at Christmas 2 years ago. But sure, Ty, whatever helps you sleep at night. He had the decency to look embarrassed. Look, that was a long time ago. People change, perspectives change. Yeah, especially when they find out who's got money, I replied. Aunt May tried next. Honey, I know tensions are high right now, but surely there's a way to salvage this. For Ren's sake. You mean the Run who lied to her fiancé about who got her pregnant? That Ren? I asked. Or do you mean for the family's sake? The family that told me I wasn't welcome at the wedding I paid for. In the middle of the chaos, Joe and I just walked out. No shouting, no drama from our end. Just a calm exit while everything burned down behind us. Later that night, my phone blew up with texts. The most interesting was from my cousin Mia. Dude, you were right. Dax just posted screenshots of their convos from 3 months ago. The baby's 100% not Zeb's. I wasn't even surprised at this point. Just tired. Tired of the drama. Tired of the lies. Tired of being the bad guy for simply standing up for myself. Ren never contacted me again after that day. Not a text, not a call, nothing. I heard through the family grapevine that she moved in with a friend and was still pregnant, still single, still a mess. My parents tried calling a few times to talk things out, but I didn't answer. Instead, I had my lawyer send them an invoice for all the cancellation fees and deposits I couldn't get back. They never paid it, of course. But that wasn't the point. The point was I finally stood up for myself. I stopped being the disappointing son they could mock until they needed cash. The brother who was supposed to be a man while they treated me like dirt. Uncle Gil sent me this long rambling email about family loyalty and how I destroyed Ren's one chance at happiness. I deleted it without responding. Aunt Pam tried the guilt angle. Your sister is devastated. I hope you're proud of yourself. Delete. Cousin V was actually the only one who seemed to get it. She texted me a week later. That was some hardcore __ you pulled, but honestly, they had it coming. No one should treat family the way they treated you. Both sides messed up, but at least you owned your part. I appreciated her honesty if nothing else. The real cherry on top. 2 weeks later, Zeb, the same guy who supposedly paid for the whole wedding, texted me asking for a job at my company. Hey man, no hard feelings about everything. Your sister and I are trying to work things out. But I was thinking since you've got that successful business now, maybe you could use someone with my creative skills. I'm really good with logos and stuff. I laughed my ass off. I screenshot it and sent it to everyone in my family with just one line. Guess the real provider needs a real job after all. That finally shut them up for a while at least. It's been I don't know how many months since then Joe and I got engaged. Small ceremony, just close friends. No family drama, no __. Just us and the people who actually supported us through everything. My business continued to grow. We expanded to a bigger office, hired more developers, took on bigger clients. Success was the best revenge, as they say. Then one day, out of the blue, Ren showed up at my office. She was very pregnant by then, probably 8 months along. She looked tired, older somehow, like the past half year had aged her 5 years. Can we talk? She asked. I thought about it for a second and then nodded. I sent everyone else home early, and we sat in the conference room. I'm sorry, she responded simply, for all of it. For not standing up for you when everyone else was being mean. For letting your parents utilize you to get money. For saying Zeb would pay for the wedding when he didn't. I didn't say anything. Just waited. She put a hand on her belly and said, I'm having a girl. In 3 weeks. Dax isn't in the image. He didn't want to be. And Zeb? I asked. She shook her head. That's the end. It was over before everything went wrong. Instead of going through with the wedding, I should have ended it the right way. What was I afraid of? Of being all by yourself. Of letting everyone down. She gazed at her hands. Of being the failure of the family. I think I took that title from you. I laughed even though it wasn't humorous. Quick, piercing noise. Well done. We were quiet for a time. Finally, I asked the question that had been bothering me. Why did you agree to it? With the falsehood that Zeb was paying for me not to go to the wedding? She wiped away a tear. Because I was weak. I've always been weak. It's easier to do what Mom and Dad want than to oppose them. Therefore I do what they want. You were always the strongest. You accomplished it on your own terms even if you failed. I didn't know how to respond to that. Some of me wanted to let her off the hook. But a different section wasn't ready. She instantly responded, I'm not asking for money. As if she had read my mind. I have a job. It's not a lot, but it's something. I simply wanted to say I'm sorry and see if we could be family again someday. Real family, not what our parents think family is. I informed her that I needed some time to consider. She nodded, gave her new number, and departed. That night, Joe and I talked about it. She didn't tell me what to do. She just listened and asked questions that helped me figure out what I was thinking. I didn't call Rin right away. It took me about a month to figure out what I wanted. At that point, she had already given birth to a baby girl named Lily. I sent a tiny gift but stayed away. My parents and the rest of my family ultimately figured out that I wasn't going to be their punching bag anymore. Some partnerships should stay broken. So, was what I did mean? It's possible. But I don't regret anything after years of being disrespected, paying for their whole wedding, and then being told I shouldn't even go when I found out my sister was lying to everyone, even her fiancé. There comes a time when you have to say enough is enough. Respect goes both ways, whether you're family or not. Sometimes, though, the only way to deliver that lesson is to hit them where it hurts. But at least I have a nice story to share at parties now. So one time I canceled my sister's wedding in the middle of the ceremony. Is the best way to break the ice.